The colonel laughed hard, almost uncontrollably, when the little girl with the oversized earmuffs and rainbow sneakers tugged at his sleeve and asked, "Can I try the range, sir?" His laughter echoed through the dusty training compound, like a roll of thunder across a silent valley. The seasoned Navy SEALs nearby smirked and turned their heads, expecting him to wave her off like a joke. No one knew that in the next 15 minutes, the laughter would be gone, the smirks replaced by silence, and that military history was about to be rewritten by hands barely big enough to grip the trigger. It was family day at the Navy SEAL Advanced Training Center, normally a light-hearted event with barbecues, obstacle course demos, and a few staged training activities to entertain visiting families. Children roamed around in camouflage face paint, pretending to be there. Soldier parents. Among them was 10-year-old Emily Hart, a girl with bright hazel eyes and a ponytail so tight it looked like a mission-ready helmet. She stood out not because of anything she wore or said, but because she wasn't pretending. Emily wasn't running around with the other kids. She wasn't giggling, chasing bubbles, or queuing up for snow cones. She was standing at the edge of the firing range, her eyes fixed on the targets like a sniper waiting for her call. And then she marched up to Colonel Briggs, a 28-year veteran who'd led combat operations on 3 continents. She stood at parade rest like she'd seen on base all her life and asked, "Sir, permission to fire on the SEAL range?" The colonel snorted. "What, you think you're going to outshoot my best men, little miss?" "No, sir," she said calmly. "I'm going to break their records." That's when the laughter came. The colonel had heard cocky remarks from full-grown recruits who could bench press twice their weight, but coming from a girl barely 4.5 feet tall, couldn't help himself, "Sweetheart," he said, wiping his eyes. "The rifles are bigger than you." But before he could continue, Chief Delgado, a lean-eyed SEAL with a sharp memory, stepped forward. "Wait, Colonel. That's Mark Hart's girl." The colonel froze. The name was a ghost from the past Chief Petty Officer Mark Hart, one of the most legendary snipers the teams had ever known. 3 tours, 70 confirmed kills. Died in Afghanistan protecting a convoy. His memory was sacred. The colonel turned back to the girl and looked harder. "You Mark's kid?" he asked. "Yes, sir." He paused. The laughter was gone. "Get her a rifle," he said, voice suddenly firm. "Let's see what she's got." The range instructor hesitated. Regulations, safety protocols, insurance liabilities. But the colonel raised his hand. "She's cleared. I'll take full responsibility." They brought out a modified MK-12 rifle lighter recoil. Adjustable stock and set up 3 stations: short range, mid-range, and long range. One by one, the SEALs gathered around, more out of curiosity than anything. The mood was still skeptical, though quieter. Emily adjusted her stance, looked down the scope, and inhaled deeply. Then, silence, crack, dot, first shot dead center. 100 meters, crack, 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 3. More in the exact same hole, murmurs spread through the line. She moved to 200 meters. Adjusted for wind without a word, fired bullseye. Then 400 meters, wind picking up, heat haze rising, still dash bullseye. Now the SEALs were muttering numbers. They were pulling up previous record sheets. Someone ran to grab the base tablet to cross-reference digital stats. "Wait, is that right?" one of them whispered. "She's beating Delgado's grouping." The colonel leaned in. "Next station." Came the true test. 800 meters. A distance only the most elite snipers trained on regularly. Emily took her time. She lay prone. Slow breaths. Triggered discipline like she'd been doing it for years. Crack. There was a delay. Then the sound of the metal target pinging a clean hit. Another and another. Her grouping was tighter than what the SEAL instructors had done during the last qualification trials. The range fell silent. Men who had served in Kandahar and Fallujah stood still, watching in awe. She had hit every target in record time with record accuracy. Colonel Briggs stepped forward slowly, his jaw clenched, eyes shining in disbelief. How? How did you learn to shoot like that? Emily stood, brushing dust off her knees. My dad taught me before he deployed the last time, said if anything happened to him. I had to remember how to protect people, so I trained every day since. Here, the voice didn't shake. Her hands didn't tremble, but her eyes, they glistened. He said bullets only matter if your heart is steady. No one spoke for several seconds. Then Chief Delgado took a step forward, ripped off his trident pinned, the symbol of the SEALs, and handed it. To her without a word, the colonel placed a hand on her shoulder and bent down. I laughed. He said quietly, but you reminded every man here today what it means to serve. Your father would be proud, hell. He probably just saluted from heaven. By the end of the day, the range scoreboard had been updated. At the top, etched in digital ink, Emily Hart, 10YO, all-time record holder, and underneath a simple note, in honor of CPO Mark Hart, his legacy lives on. Emily didn't stay for the barbecue. She visited the memorial wall quietly, placed the trident on her father's plaque, and whispered, I did it, Daddy, just like you showed me. And from that day on, no one ever laughed at a little girl with a rifle again.